All right, thank you for watching today's video. We have gotten a lot of rain in the Jackson Metro recently, thankfully. And so I want to talk about the three big topics in landscaping in my world, or at least in my opinion. Weed control, mowing, and irrigation. So what do you need to be thinking about when it rains a lot? By the way, when I say a lot, you know, we've gotten at least 2 inches in the last, hear that thunder maybe, I don't know if you could hear it. We've gotten a lot of rain this week, and even in the last 48 hours, we've gotten at least 2 inches. Some places outside of the metro have gotten like 6, 7 inches. Let's talk about irrigation first. Look at how green it is everywhere. Just like drive around and see how green it is. It is green everywhere. I really like to highlight this because we get a lot of calls in July, August, September. I'd say those are definitely the top 3 months where people really are bewildered at how not green their yard is. And 99.9% of the time, you know, people think either because of the rain or they think they're irrigating enough, it's because we hadn't gotten enough rain or they're not irrigating enough. And that's why it's not green. You know, the simple fact of the matter is that when plants get enough water, they turn green. Like regardless of fertilizer, they turn green. A good, healthy green. So I want to say that is my first point about irrigation. Point number 2 is make sure you turn it off. Make an alarm on your phone to turn it back on in about 3 days from now. All landscapes are different. That's not true for everybody in every situation, but the more familiar you are with your irrigation system, you kind of should know by now, or a lot of you know how long to wait. You know, if you go out there, the only way to really know, the way we would be able to tell you is we'd have to put our finger in the ground and see how wet it is. If there's still moisture, then just, you don't have to turn it back on yet. But if it's really dry, then you definitely know to turn it back on. When do you turn it on? We've got a website for that. We've done a video recently on that, so we'll link that here. And as far as weed control goes, the things I would draw your attention to is number 1, just that weeds do get worse with more rain. That's an unfortunate part of our job, but it's part of our job, and so I want to give some attention to it on this video for sure. Just be aware in your landscape beds, you know, whether it's rock areas or plant bed areas where you have the pine straw or the bark, the mulch, the weeds are going to come up more often. Unpreventable weeds are going to come up more often. Nutsedge especially, expect to see that over the next month. We spray for those in June and August for Bermuda zoysia yards. We spray for them in July and sometimes August in Centipede St. Augustine yards. And another little plug for that would be robotic mowing. I don't ever have nutsedge problems in this yard because even if there is any nutsedge out there, it's going to get cut every day. So my yard looks the same every day. I think it's a great form of weed control. But I do want to just draw some attention to that and open, you know, ourselves to any questions that you have about the weeds that you have. But we do schedule landscape bed weed treatments to be every month, every 4 weeks, because they're just going to come up. And like I said, they come up more with more water. And same way with the yard. Most yards we visit at least twice in the summer. But if you ever have any concerns about that, let us know. We'll be glad to help and figure out what we need to do. And then mowing would be the last thing I would say. As you know, I love to talk about robotic mowing these days. I don't know if you've seen the mower going in the background in this video yet, but it just got through raining a lot, and it can mow and it doesn't cause any rut. So we don't have to worry about the mowing crew getting here and rutting things up. So that's really nice. Also, pretty much all robotic mowers, I know all the robotic mowers we work with, they have rain sensors on them, and you can turn those rain sensors on or off. If you have a yard that you know that you don't mind it mowing even in the rain, then you can turn the rain sensor off. But if you have one zone of your yard that's like, hey, this gets really wet, let's not mow here whenever it rains, but everywhere else you can mow, then you can toggle that rain sensor on and off for that. And so that's really nice, nice feature with robotic mowers. Also, there's all-wheel drive mowers. There's 3-wheel drive mowers. They have 3 wheels on all of them drive. There's 2-wheel drive mowers that can get a little bit more bogged down, but if your yard's relatively wet, the one behind me is 2-wheel drive, and it does perfectly fine. But the 3-wheel drive has been really cool to see. It can even mow in a really wet ditch with a pretty good steep angle of the embankment there. I don't know, man. It's really fascinating. It's affordable. It's certainly reasonable for you to consider, especially when you're thinking about, man, this is just always an aggravating part of doing my landscaping. Even if you do your own mowing, like, man, I got Saturday and that's my only day to mow, and now it's raining and I can't go mow. Man, use that time for something else. A lot of people have a bad rap with mowing, saying it's, you know, it's making us lazy, but it's not for me. I've started exercising more in my life this year than I've ever done before. Maybe it's because I have more margins because I don't have to spend my Saturdays mowing. I don't know. But what I do know is that you need to think about it as being able to do something else, not just sit around and do nothing, but now you can do something else. Play with your children, go exercise, focus on weed eating, doing some other landscaping job that your landscape needs. So consider robotic mowing, ask us questions about robotic mowing, and that's all I'm going to talk about with the rain this time. If you have any other things you'd like for me to talk about in the future, definitely let me know. Would love to hear back from you. Thank you for watching. See you next time.